Good day, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Getting a bit of a move here on Bitcoin. I'm going to actually start this live stream looking at Bitcoin here and doing a bit of an update for the members who I had given an update that I was interested in. Well, maybe I'll just show it. So I'd given an update this morning in the members Discord that I was interested in a push up here. This seemed like a straightforward trade, sweeping these highs, key level here, and shorting that. And so I'd taken the initial short. This is me just explaining what my trigger was on the 1 minute. I wanted to see that push up into this level and the rejection, that being my short trigger. But then we started seeing some things in order flow that I didn't think looked particularly good for this short. So I just cut it around break even. Personally, I'm going to cut my short around break even here. Let some of this PA resolve. I didn't feel like taking the stop here because I didn't think the trade was looking very probable. We did have that initial reaction, but after that, I'll explain sort of what I didn't like. But we can go to the chart here and we can see, down here, looking for that push up to take these highs. We have the reaction, the short trigger, but we'll look at order flow here and why I decided to cut that short early and just get out around break even. And one of the benefits of, one of the annoying things is exchanges keep requiring KYC, and depending on where you live, you might have to change exchanges. But one of the benefits of that is exchanges like MEXC and some of the other exchanges I've been trying have way lower fees. So it's easier to get in and out of trades. All right. So we'll go to order flow here. So anyways, we have this grinding price action. This is the 5-minute chart. And we have this impulse up. It's looking okay for a short idea. As price pushes up through the highs, we have lots of volume coming in here. 9.1 million, 11.5, 15.2. We get that last push up and looking for that short on the breakdown here. But then we just see price holding these local lows, and we see $2 million in negative delta here. Shorts opening, increase in open interest, and price start bouncing off of that. And that's where I started to think, I don't necessarily want to sit in this short. The reaction's nice, the level's nice. But we're seeing signs that price is being held up here to potentially push higher. So I opted just to get out of the short. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not too complicated. It's just you like to look at the level, you like to look at the reaction, and then you start seeing things you don't quite like the look of. And let me go here. So we will get into some altcoin analysis right away. But and that's what my update was about 30 minutes ago. I said certainly a local reaction here. We do have some aggressive shorts opening and getting absorbed, which isn't a great sign for shorts. And then maybe 20 minutes, I guess exactly 20 minutes ago, I cut my short. But let's get into some altcoins. And maybe we'll keep an eye on Bitcoin here as well, if we get anything interesting. So we have some nice shorts getting stopped out here. But yeah, I'd rather wait for a breakdown in structure here or a push higher to test liquidity higher before shorting. It's not always about predicting what the market's going to do. I think this was a really nice short setup, taking this high, similar concept, obviously, taking the liquidity above a key pivot. And a long I was interested in and have been is taking this low, which we front run. So one thing I'll say is, we have these lows intact. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart. All right. Well, let's start with the Bitcoin review here, and then we'll get to altcoins. So we have these lows intact, and I was very interested in longing a sweep of these lows. We didn't even take this low here after the breakdown. So I do think shorting into this target makes sense, but you certainly don't want to be shorting anywhere because price could take these highs, for example. So I think trading around key levels makes a lot of sense. I have no interest in shorting while we're breaking out above this high until maybe we take some of these other highs. So, looking for a nice reaction, taking these highs or these highs could offer a nice, interesting short trade. Maybe you get a change in local market structure, breakdown, retest, that sort of thing. So depending on how price gets there, I would trade it maybe a little bit differently, but targeting to take these lows. So the local structure here is clear. We had these highs, we swept them, a nice short setup. This pivot high, certainly a nice short idea, but we're breaking out of it, and I was able to fade that short, so that's good. And the next structure here is up here. We actually this might become a Bitcoin live stream here. Well, I hate how this software works. I can't even read. Okay, wait, that's better. I can't really read the chat. But anyways, we'll see how Bitcoin resolves. Right now, we have to accept that we have this bullish local structure grinding up, getting a nice impulse. So it doesn't make sense to short unless you get a clear setup. But I would like to find those nice shorts if we get them. It would be a little bit unfortunate for us to, if we take these highs without taking this low. If you followed my analysis for the last little while, my idea here was maybe we come and take these local highs. I did take that short into this level, test this trend line liquidity, and then take these highs. So a little unfortunate not to be in this long here with this slight front run, because the analysis is looking pretty good. The reason I'm all of a sudden fixated on Bitcoin here is we're getting this impulse. We actually are testing an important trend line. It's not quite pulled perfectly here. That actually might have got moved because both pivots were off just a little bit. It's close enough. Got some longs opening into this move. Shorts getting squeezed out. Yeah, so close, but certainly interested in a short up here. If we can come up and retest this level, sweep these highs. Probably the simplest trigger, sign of weakness, would be taking the highs and losing it. But there might be some local triggers up here. Just depends how, again, price progresses to that level. I'm not going to be surprised if we see this without a major retracement at this point. Break out of this trend line looks quite reasonable. Yeah, this is very trappy price action too. Testing the liquidity. People are going to be trading breakouts here. There's probably going to be lots of swing shorts that get liquidated and stopped out here. So this whole idea, which I kind of shared, I guess it was how many days ago was it? I don't even know. Maybe 8 days ago. Was to push up, come down, take some liquidity down below, and then have this impulse, test this trend line liquidity, trap out or stop out shorts and trap some breakout longs, and then have our deeper retest of these lows. Of course, it's very possible that we break out here, in which case taking all these highs around 30,300 would make a lot of sense. All right, well, let's get into some altcoin analysis because that's what the live stream is titled. We might come back to Bitcoin a little later. All right, so lots of people asking about Link. So let's go to Link. I do have a really nice ARB long, which is a great swing trade to be in. I wanted to add to it here, but I didn't get a chance. But this is that long I caught right at the lows. So just a nice swing trade. But let's go to Link. Trades like that, keeping the lights on. All right, I'll have some old analysis on some of these charts from probably previous live streams. So Link's been in this eternal range. And I just want to address the exact questions people ask. So I saw two things. Any opinion on Link? Is it time? And somebody asking would I short Link? I probably wouldn't short Link here. Like it depends what your thesis is, right? Is your thesis a swing trade? Or are you just trying to scalp like a sweep of a daily high scenario? Because you probably have, this looks, you have the 886. I don't know. But this is my thought on Link in terms of a higher time frame. And it's not to say that I know what's going to happen. It's just, if I wasn't dead set on trading Link, like I need to trade it, I need to find a setup, I would just say, well, you know what, maybe if we sweep these highs, we've been consolidating here since April of 2022, and we reject, taking these range highs could be interesting. But we also have a range, we've swept the lows, and we could just break out of this consolidation. So it is interesting that people are so fixated on Link here, but I wouldn't be interested in shorting here. It's such a well established range. So why short a big impulse into the middle of breaking through the middle of the range? We can do some maybe lower time frame analysis, just get a sense of what's going on here, but at first glance it's not really of interest. So let's remove this and just make it a horizontal level. Taking that high. There's a channel here. See, high, low, high, low, high. It's got lots of touches though. It's also, and this probably isn't drawn perfectly, something like this. But it's going to be a fourth touch on a trend line here, so that's not quite the best time to be shorting. Go to the 4 hour. So the case for a short here would be, well, we have a nice high to sweep. So even as a scalp, but look at this grinding structure on the 4 hour. This is what I would say. Your time frame of your trade is so important that, for example, like this could be a nice short. Like you go to the 15-minute chart, you have a range here, and maybe you say, I'm going to short down into, like if this is your thesis, I'm going to short into a sweep of these lows. Okay, well, I mean, maybe you've identified a range, and you say my short, you know, is something like this. It's a 5.6 hour trade, and it could be a nice idea. But if we're talking about a higher time frame short setup, like a swing short, or back into the lows of the range, I'd be a little more skeptical about it. But I guess that's my link analysis. This range is just so well defined. The level's so clear. You know, we either break out or we don't. Let me just make sure. I think I moved some of these alerts around. Just make sure I'm looking at my alerts here. One thing I would say is, you know, whether you're looking to take a short or a long, particularly as a technical trader, it's not that you have to trade certain styles of technical analysis, but you should really think about the levels you're trading, right? And the kind of liquidity ideas and the time frame. So you don't necessarily just want to short link because it's pumped a lot. You want to think about the structure. Where are the highest probability shorts here? And you know, to me, this doesn't necessarily look like the best setup. Lots of liquidity being grabbed on Bitcoin. I'll try to keep the stream on task here. Certainly a little interested in watching Bitcoin here, but maybe we'll catch a setup later. Okay, EGLD. Some of these coins I'll have not analyzed in over a year. Almost have this grinding bear structure on the daily time frame. Just want to get a sense of the scale of these moves. It's 30%. Is this just marking out some levels? You know, I can't just look at a chart and say what the setup is. I gotta familiarize myself a little bit with the price action here. It's really the only somewhat clean. All right, well, this is what I would say about EGLD. We have this prices grinding down on the daily time frame. Obviously, you know, if we go on tighter time frames, there's going to be some setups. Let me ask something. When you guys ask for a coin, can you say what time frame you're looking at, or what time frame you're curious about? Because you could just say EGLD, and you know, it's like the analysis is completely different on higher time frames and low time frames. And maybe I'll do a quick analysis of both. But I'd say EGLD, it's breaking down the structure. I mean, this looks, not that we can't get some impulses and liquidity grabs, not that anything can't happen, but this looks like lower's coming. Actually, a lot of alts. I was reviewing a bunch of alts recently. Not charting them, but just looking at their price action. And a lot of them just look like they want to nuke. Grinding down, rolling over. But where's our structure here, right? Our adjacent structure. So like, you know, it's so hard to say beyond these consolidation sort of lows here. So maybe we come back down and retest these levels. You know, does this offer a nice setup? Possibly. Wouldn't be a bad setup either to front run it a little bit and then come and sweep it and use a sweep of that low as a trigger for a long maybe. Can also look for breakout ideas if you're interested in a long. And I'm talking as a potential swing trade, right? I'm assuming because we're down near multi-year lows that's why somebody's curious about it. So these technical structures here getting reactions. That's quite clean. It's on the daily time frame. Okay, well, let's look at a lower time frame here. Four-hour. Price bouncing off the 786. 786 is always a fib you want to watch on alts. Alts do like those deeper retracements. This is actually a perfect, not perfect, but pretty darn close kind of swing failure retest here. Some high volume areas here. Yeah, on a higher time frame, some of these retracements and sweeps and retests could have been nice, I suppose. But it's a little late maybe to enter those. You know, maybe we do come back down and take these lows into this descending trend line that we have going on here. I would imagine, I would say probably the first break of either of these structures is likely to fake out, whether it's to the low or the high. So, you know, I maybe longing like a break of this and a reclaim with invalidation under it could be interesting. Or just looking for lower time frame structure setups, saying, hey, maybe this is our low. We've swept, we've reclaimed, we've retested. This would be interesting, but it's kind of past. But anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. I wouldn't be surprised to see lower. This just looks quite bearish. There's no reason not to suspect lower. What price is just grinding down like this? Till there's a change in market structure. All right, we can take a look at DOT. Why is this? Why do I have so many dots here? But look at all these alts. Let's look at BINANCE. Just for this deeper price history. So a lot of alts just looking like they want to nuke. Similar structure to EGLD, just this grinding down, rolling over. This ending in an impulse wouldn't be surprising. Maybe we grab liquidity first. Same thing. We had this huge impulse up. The only structure we have adjacent to us is here on the chart. Taking this low could be an interesting idea. Let's analyze the lower time frame, and then I'll go to the 30-minute as requested. Breaking down this local range, testing it as resistance. So higher time frame still looks bearish, market structure breaking. No reason not to suspect lower on a higher time frame. Price testing a trend line right here. This is the 4-hour. Where would the setups be? I might I wouldn't call it maybe a challenge, maybe a mini challenge in the Discord where I pick 5 altcoins, and every other week I day trade all 5. Not to sell, take trades on all 5, but I do analysis with the intention of day trading all 5 altcoins if I get setups. I'm going to be finishing up a relocation soon to another country or countries. Some nice little structure here. So we're on the 30-minute time frame. Low, sweat, retest. This is all nice ideas. It's probably just the 886 here. 786, 886. Slightly front run. So on the 30-minute time frame, which was requested, you always have just these key highs and lows, like these obvious pivots that can generate nice reactions. We're getting one now, similar to this one being swept, generates a nice reaction. So are there scalp short setups here? Probably. But one thing I'm a little suspicious of is this clear trend line. So let's just imagine a scenario on DOT on this lower time frame where maybe we consolidate here and break out of this trend line. We have these highs. Get rid of this higher time frame analysis. So I'd be interested in looking for like a short setup, sweeping these highs into the 786. That does not mean that there aren't other trade setups that are logical, that have high probabilities. But like when I see this, I'm like, this is worth setting an alert, and if I get the setup, come look at DOT and see, the way I trade it is we sweep these highs and reject. And just set an alert there, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But that doesn't mean you can't go to the 5-minute time frame and look for scalps, or there's no other reasonable setups. Look at this grinding price action. A little bit of an impulse here. But I don't really feel a need to force anything. It's looking like higher on Bitcoin is likely. Alts probably will follow. We certainly have this trend line here, which could trap some people. Maybe they're selling into it, shorting. We break out, trap some of that liquidity. These highs are a nice idea, but this is a really nice idea. There might actually even be a shallow channel here. I think it's it's not, it doesn't quite work. Maybe, no, it's tough. I don't think, probably be worth keeping on here as a potential additional confluence, but yeah, this is the main idea I see on DOT. Maybe we come back and take the range lows. That could be an interesting long setup as well. I don't think I'm really going in order here, but just the premise of this question is interesting to me, so I'm going to take a look at the chart before I answer out of hand. So the question in the chart was look at CAS, or in the chat was regarding CAS. I'm just wondering, what will your analysis be on coin making all-time highs? Okay, so there's a few ways to answer this, but first I'll say, well, we're near all-time highs, so, you know, is it so unlikely to claim that it's possible to make new all-time highs? I don't think so. But what is the... So the problem with a question like that is the answer is always... like, it's always possible. It can make all-time highs, it can make all-time lows. The answer is always, it's possible, anything's possible. And even if I had some reason to think it's more likely that we make all-time highs, what can you really do with that information? You can't set up a trade around it. If I said, I think it's likely we make all-time highs on this coin, I don't know anything about it, and I'll do some analysis in a second. So what do? Do you just take a long and hope that you make all-time highs with no invalidation? You still need to trade. You still need to set up your trade with risk management, with a technical entry and all those things. So the answer to the question is irrelevant. We may make all-time highs. We may not. But what you're better off to do is look for signs of strength, look for signs of weakness. It's market structure holding. We obviously have a major high swept here. We have a rejection. It's looking a little bit I wouldn't say bearish necessarily, but I do want to pay attention to Bitcoin here, because I might be trading this level. All right, so we have 8.5, 8.8. I'm just watching order flow here on the other screen. Sorry for the detour here, guys. I'm very interested to see how we react here, and sometimes these triggers come very quickly. And I'll do some post analysis of the local order flow here. I just want to pay attention. Nice little pop here. So we double top on these highs, at least on this chart. 1.5 million short stopped out right at the top. All right, well, I'll set this here again, and we might have to jump back and forth a little bit. So yeah, anyways, all-time highs, those are very speculative ideas, but let's do some analysis. And so the question is this, with your question about all-time highs, if you're still in the live stream, is what's your plan with that answer, right? Are you planning on shorting the all-time high? Are you planning on holding it long until the all-time high? Are you planning on longing now and hoping for an all-time high? Depending on what your plan is. I mean, this is like, this was a short setup on this coin Caspa.
So you're saying you're potentially looking at shorting.
Well, you don't need to answer the question, what are the chances of all-time highs, to take a short. You just need to use risk management. There is never a time where you should take a short and just say, well, I hope we don't go to all-time highs. So like, for example, if I was to have shorted this sweep of this high here, I would just short it. Just swing failure, and there's probably logic to trading it down to here, but man, this was such a clean reaction. Sorry. This 618, that would have been a really nice long setup there. But anyways, and if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I don't really need to answer the question if price could go to all-time highs. And let's just say I like this rejection, and I'm just set on finding a short. So I'm going to cover a couple of things here. If I chart 20 coins, do I need to get fixated on one coin over the other? If I'm just looking at it as a technical chart, you have key levels, pivot highs. I want to plan all my trades ahead and say, like, let's say I was looking at CASPA here. I said, if we take these highs and sweep them, I'm going to short. I set an alert and I don't care about it. But now we're in a situation where the high has been taken. We've had a major rejection. So the question is, you might think, I think CASPA is going to go much lower. But why would you fixate on shorting CASPA? Like, why not, or CASA, whatever it's called? CAS? Oh, I got these confused. Is this Carl the Moon's coin? I don't know these coins. You can fixate on this and be like, I think it's going to go lower. Okay, that's fine if you want to find a setup, but now we got to get into the nitty gritty here and look for other setups. Because this could be any chart. You could literally just pull up any chart and say, I'd be interested in shorting a sweep of this major pivot high if we reject, and go find that setup anywhere. But if there's some specific reason you want to short CASPA, okay, so we have to start looking, assume the high is in, and say, okay, if the high is in, where can we find some nice short setups? Am I crazy? You're saying that you never asked for it to go to all-time highs. Oh, it might have been somebody else that asked that, and then you also asked. Or no, you said, regarding CAS, I'm just wondering what will your analysis be on a coin making all-time highs? Maybe I misunderstood the question. But anyways, let's not get too derailed here. Okay, so let's analyze some local structure here. Maybe a channel idea up into this. Where is our last daily candle high? It is right into this level. We see this wick here. I mean, if I was just to be interested in finding a short setup here, it would be something like this probably. Could probably even get, like, you could reasonably look for a very tight invalidation short here, sweeping this high, sub 1%. But it's not always. Sometimes it's nice just to trade it wider and have a better chance of being in the trade. The nice thing about this idea is you can trade it tighter off local a local structure. Like, technically, you might look to trade it like this as a swing trade, but sometimes you can find a local setup, so you can enter locally, invalidate locally off local analysis, but treat it as a swing trade. Because on a higher time frame, you have this sweep of these highs, you have a major rejection, and you're looking to short the retracement. And you can look for tighter local invalidation. So if I was going to short it, probably be looking for something like this. Sweeping this daily high. I'll pin it here a little more closer to this key level, into this ascending structure. That could be a nice setup. There might be other nice setups too, taking these highs, but this is the clearest idea to me. What is that? Did we double top this high? No, we didn't even take it. All right, well, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Bitcoin here. 16 million volume. Interesting. You know, we can watch for these low time frame retests of trend lines and that sort of thing. Maybe I'll even set an alert here. Maybe I'll think about, because it looks like it only trades on MEXC, and I'm a MEXC user, so I don't know. But yeah, like this could, maybe you could justify trading this as a 50-hour setup, right? And your TP1s could still be in this local channel, but I've shared my thoughts pretty extensively about the ES. Somebody's asking if I have any thoughts on the ES. I mean, I've had this analysis for whatever it has been, like a year, and it's holding very cleanly. This rejection is not really a surprise. As we, we're rejecting here, I said probably the next stop for me on this medium time frame for the ES is to come and test these lows. So that's what I'm looking at right now. You know, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, why is it so bearish? Why is it so bearish? I mean, to me, it's like not a surprise at all that it's bearish, and this was a major target for a year. We hit it. I posted about it probably 40 times on Twitter. I know, probably like 5 times. But and it coincided perfectly with the DXY low, which was another pivot put analyzed at the same time a year ago. So the whole structure makes sense to me. I'm not surprised. Be interesting to see how we test this low. But right now I am macro very bearish on the ES, and I know people don't like to hear that, and you don't want to get in the habit of predicting market crashes all the time. I'm willing to change my perspective if there's a reason to. We have local structure here, but as of now, this is almost the identical analysis I had a year ago, and it's holding well. These key pivots seem like likely targets. You know, it's funny because everybody was so bearish all the way up here, and then price finally grinds up to key resistance. You can even just simplify all of this and say, you know, this is your analysis. Just come tap this, test this pivot high here. It shouldn't be a big surprise that we're getting a nice reaction and pullback here from a technical perspective. You know, retesting these highs, but anyways, I'm looking at these lows for now on the ES. Okay, somebody's spamming in the chat a bunch of times. What's the highest probability strategy in your point of view? It's just a complicated question. There's so many variables. Probability, like win rate isn't necessarily the most important thing. So the highest probability, meaning highest win rate strategy. I mean, you could just set up trades really stupid. I could have a 99.9% win rate, but I'd be trading extremely small with extremely wide stop losses. So what does the question really answer? I mean, I could have a 100% win rate over the last 3 years. if I structure my trades to prefer win rate over profitability. All right, we can look at ETH. Yeah, ETH is retesting for the third time its golden pocket here. So the daily time frame. I'm just kind of curious here because it's like, where is... Such a clean bounce off the 786. Middle of nowhere too. Just an empty wick here. Again, ETH loves the 786. Altcoins love it. And I was commenting in the Discord, I often regret not just setting some kind of limit order on the 786 with some tight invalidation. There was a descending structure here, but I think it's broken. Am I crazy? No, it's not broken. I think I was looking at the at this one earlier. Yeah, this is... Yeah, so I mean, this is a obviously key resistance on ETH, right? The more times it's tested, maybe the less probable the trade is. But, you know, putting on a trade into this level isn't the craziest idea. What I would prefer to see is these highs taken. And maybe this descending channel forms. You have a nice liquidity grab. You have a nice entry trigger, clear invalidation. Also gives Bitcoin a little bit of time to push up into its highs. Probably be more interested in that. But it's not crazy to just short this level, right? I mean, the high wasn't taken here in a nice rejection. It's a nice technical level. But yeah, so I mean, I'd be probably interested in that, especially depending on where Bitcoin is. So you'll have your value area high here. Waiting for the rejection to enter validation above the high, nice and tight. Makes sense. There's still liquidity below on Bitcoin. All right, somebody wants ARB. I'm really trying not to overtrade ARB. I'm in a nice swing position. I do have some analysis on it. So I posted my my swing long setup literally at the bottom of this move. It's on Twitter as well. But the idea was we have this descending structure overlapping with this descending structure. So if we go to the 4 hour, it's going to become relevant in a second. But we have this intersecting here, this perfect intersection. So I said I'm going to take a long here. I don't know if it's necessarily the highest probability trade because we're in the middle of nowhere. Just, you know, there's no structure here. It's just the all-time low sort of situation. But it worked out. And we did hold this channel as resistance with perfect touches as well after bouncing from the low. There was no channel. The idea was predicting a channel forming. We had some 7% pullbacks from the top of that channel. But my thoughts on ARB. On a higher time frame, suppose testing these highs is quite important. I mean, all of these highs are important, but right now we're just breaking out, running this descending trend line. I think we probably just keep running these highs. I'm willing to hold my swing position for that unless there's a reason to close it. Testing this is important, but I'm really trading this up into the top of this channel. And as far as entering new trades, into this region, I'm already in a long here. I'm not really interested in trading a breakout. Not surprised to see a bullish move here just because we're bouncing off of the lows of this structure. And if you're trading within the context of this channel, well, you're kind of expecting a move up into this channel. So this is probably a key horizontal as well. But yeah, anyways, I'm in a long. I'm bullish on ARB. I'd look for opportunities to add if we can form some structure and get some retests or sweeps of liquidity. And it's not to say there aren't breakout trades, but even if you're taking one, now isn't the time to even take a breakout trade. You want to be a little more preemptive with it. Yeah, ARB on 1 hour. Like I said, I have a high time frame thesis on ARB, so I'm chilling on ARB. I'm long, chilling, looking for higher. I'll watch some of these key pivots. I'm not particularly interested in trading the lower time frame here, but if I was set on trading a low time frame, here's the thing. I would like when the same guy's just spamming ARB on 1 hour, please. ARB on 1 hour, please. Ask what you're thinking. There's a lot of ARBs. Are you asking because, say, like, I want to long ARB, I want to short ARB. Because what do you want me to say about it? Like if I've already covered ARB, but you keep asking for ARB, it's like clearly you want to do something. And my answer doesn't answer the question. So I'm just curious, when you ask for a coin, why are you asking? What are you looking for? Is it because it's breaking out and you want to long it and you don't want to miss the move, or what is the origin of your interest? Okay, so you say you want to short. Actually, I'm already short. Are you short and deep underwater? Okay, you said in water. Yeah, so that's probably why you're spamming for ARB, is you're in a short and you're deep underwater. Well, this isn't really about ARB. I have no idea what ARB's going to do. It's just about trading in general. Should always have invalidation and be using risk management. And you can just get absolutely wrecked if you don't. And you're just hoping price goes down. Price doesn't have to go down. Doesn't have to come back to your entry. You can just keep going up until you're liquidated. I don't know what your situation is, but again, I don't know where you shorted this or why you shorted it. But if I was set on shorting ARB, which I'm not, I probably lean more bullish on ARB, as I've said. These highs are probably targets, obviously, to break them and maybe sweep them and get some kind of reaction, but maybe the middle of this channel. I'm a fan of these. I look for some intersecting ascending structures. Yeah, I'm not trying to be cruel or withholding here, but nothing I say really helps you because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't take trades with the assumption I know what will happen. I just use invalidation. So, it's just not a good position to be in. If you're in it's always best if a trade's not working and your thesis isn't working, then just cut the trade. at a reasonable loss and move on to a new setup. You know, people get so worried about taking any kind of loss that they end up in massive losses or losing their entire account because the basic premise is this. It's not about, you know, oh, why would you short here or why would you long here? It doesn't matter. You know, there's lots of different types of analysis and no one's right all the time. So it's not about the trade you took, but presumably you took a short because you expected price to go down. Price isn't going down. You're going underwater. So maybe you want to leave some variance and say, well, this kind of is a region of resistance. You plan your trade around that, your sizing, and say, if I break out of here, I'm going to cut my trade, and it's going to be a reasonable loss because I didn't trade it too big. And that's your trade thesis. Obviously, you expected price to go down. That's why you shorted. Price isn't going down. So when would you just say, oh, I was wrong. Price is not going down. And then cut your trade. And yeah, I mean, there's more kind of nuance to how you can set that up. But at some point, if I enter a long, I'd say, or a short, I'm saying, I'm expecting price to react, to bounce here. And if that doesn't happen, I can give myself some wiggle room and say, like, I don't need to time the exact low or the exact impulse. But if my trade's not working, I need to have a plan to get out. But right now, price is impulsing straight up. No structure here. These are our highs to test and take. Maybe an ascending structure that could generate a reaction. But I like trading around tight invalidation. Invalidation is the key word, or clear invalidation even. It doesn't even have to be tight. Invalidation is the key word because that's how you size your trades and manage your risk. Know when to get out. And when price is just breaking straight out, it's just risky to just sit in a short without invalidation. But it's up to you to manage your position there. Okay, ST. Probably never analyzed that. Another MEXC exclusive. Hey, I would have ignored all these coins before because I wasn't trading on MEXC, but now that I'm forced to, maybe it will be a blessing in disguise. What a wick. All right. Just curious. Well, I'll say this. I really don't like shorting coins that have repeated big wicks like this to the upside. And it's actually more common for coins to have big wicks to the upside than to the downside, like low caps. So sometimes I'll just look at a chart and say, okay, well, whatever I do with this coin, I'm just never going to short it. I don't really care if I miss some great short. It's like I don't want to short coins that wick 50% to the upside. And if I go to a lower time frame, maybe it doesn't look as bad, but you can see all these wicks here. Just, I don't like shorting those. Let's just get a sense of price action here. Mark out some horizontals. I have no idea what the liquidity is like on this coin. I imagine it's not great. I'm too lazy to do the math. All right. Well, first let's just see how technical is this coin. It's a nice little descending channel there.
This is a nice ascending channel as well. Maybe it's not quite as clean as it looked. It's close. It's a thought though. Can't short this coin as I said, or I wouldn't.
Again, so I'm just going to tell you my perspective on like a coin like this. I don't even know what it is. If I was like, I want to trade this coin, I just wait for great setups. Be like, if it nukes into the 786, get a tight invalidation set up, I'd long it. Again, I don't know STMX. I don't know what you're looking for here. We're consolidating under resistance. Are you wondering if it could go higher? Well, certainly, I mean, it doesn't look crazy to think that price could, if we hold this kind of consolidation sort of triangle idea, break through these highs, test that liquidity above this high, which could form into a breakout. If we rejected, maybe expect lower. But if we break out, then, well, there's not really any clear resistance here. You just see how price reacts. Okay, so you're wondering because you're kind of long. Yeah, I don't know where you're long from. I don't know where your invalidation is or anything like that, but like on a high, it really it really depends on your time frame and thesis. Like there could be a bullish idea of breaking out here, but that could change, and price could retrace, even through this triangle a little bit, maybe grab some liquidity under the triangle and then break up. So, would I, just because we could break out here, I wouldn't necessarily just take a random long. I'd still wait for technical ideas. Certainly a local range here, probably even a local triangle. I mean, you can get nitty gritty, right? I usually do. When I'm taking an entry, I usually do look at low time frame structure. Like this is the 15-minute chart. Taking these lows, that could be interesting. A reclaim. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the highs taken.
But that gets less and less likely as the bullish structure breaks down, right? But this sort of has the look of sort of has the look of a bullish triangle.
Okay, bear with me. I got to take a leak. I'll be right back. Oh, hey everyone, I'm back. All right, we'll take a look at a couple more things. Then maybe review Bitcoin before ending the live stream. And I should be around in the Discord today. I had some more in-depth gold analysis. The weekly time frame. Beautiful range here on gold. I'm more interested in higher time frame analysis on gold. Maybe we don't even retest here. Wouldn't mind seeing this channel form. I mean, gold seems kind of due for like a big move. Here we are, you know, consolidating, testing as high as 3 times. I'd like to see this idea play out. This analysis is probably 2.5 years old or something like that, so we'll see. I think the general idea is still reasonable. Maybe. But yeah, in a range right now. Range low, range high. I'm looking for higher in the longer time frame. But that can start changing, you know, if price starts breaking down. But this certainly looks reasonable for a higher time frame breakout to me. Okay, we'll do. Someone asked for DXY. We'll just cover it very quickly. I'll give my perspective. So this is what I was saying. At the same time as I had this ES analysis last year, I had this DXY analysis. Within a couple days, I posted them together. But the idea was that we just come in and form this simple channel. That's what I was looking for. Simple channel to form a perfect reaction off of it. So that's nice. And then from a bounce there, I've just been looking for price to break out and maybe test the middle of the channels as a medium time frame pivot here on the daily chart. So we have a nice pivot high here to take. So I think it looks somewhat reasonable. Could reject from anywhere, but as we're breaking this descending trend line here, thought it made sense to just grind up, test the middle of the channel. Why not keep using this channel as at least a guide for some of your key pivots and levels? Well, it's reacting so nicely. The structure's there, so until it's not, maybe worth considering. So nice pivot high here to take. This looks reasonable for me on the DXY, particularly considering the ES. ES coming to major resistance at the same time as DXY to support. Breaking down here. Could maybe imagine the ES falling lower, the DXY pushing higher. There's that inverse correlation. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. I was going to look at Rune. I forget if I said I was going to, but I made a mental note that I would do it because somebody asked. But I am gonna. I'm gonna. At least for a period of time, I'm gonna wait till I finish up the move here. But I'm gonna do regular day trading on altcoins. There's so many great setups, and I do a decent amount of it. I just don't give updates. So maybe I'll warn everybody in the Discord who doesn't want 10 altcoin chart updates a day to turn off notifications in those channels. because it will also be a little spammy if you aren't interested in day trading alts. But you can just turn off notifications, so that's a good solution. You've seen all these structures so many times. So somebody said look at Rune. I think they said it's looking ripe for a short. Well, there's clear resistance here. I would have much preferred this short. That the more obvious a level is, sometimes the less likely it is. Like we have this huge high volume impulse and then we sweep this high. That's a nice short setup, that first test. Then we have a third test, and now we're at a fourth test with a strong impulse into the level. It just becomes a little less probable, but the thing that's nice about it is very clear. It's simple. Like I wouldn't necessarily have considered this an unclear trade. This is pretty, in my view, simple if you're watching Rune. The setup's simple. But maybe some would say this is more simple. It's a retest. Well, we had one retest. That could have been a nice short. Now we have another retest. And the idea is the more time a level is hammered on, the more likely it is to break. So the setup isn't always as interesting, but the setup's clear, right? Just short the level, validation above the wick, maybe trade it back down to these lows. So yeah, I think as long as you're using risk management, there's nothing wrong with taking the short. But personally, I guess and part of it is just sort of my my sort of standard of, like, if I wanted to trade Rune, I would have liked to have been paying attention and had an alert set here and traded some of these first interactions with the levels, but this seems simple enough. You got a nice descending trend line here, sort of a retest of the level. So yeah, I'd say, of all the coins we've looked at today, this is one of the few that is technically probably at a key level that's tradable. Just trading into a sweep of these lows. I don't even know if you need to get too fixated on the fibs here. But again, the only thing I don't like about it is just how many times the level's been tested. No, the Discord, well, there is a free section of the Discord that is, it's not very active, to be honest, and I'd like to change that, but the members Discord is not free. But I guess technically the Discord itself, there is a public section to the Discord. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question about Rune. I probably will set on the off chance. I mean, we need to have a massive impulse, but a very quick move. But just in case this happens, I'd just be interested to take a look at this channel. I like channels, especially into big impulses into channels, right? I'll probably do a post on that soon. Or a thread. All right, we'll do two more coins, then we'll look at Bitcoin, and the two more that I'm going to do is SNX and VET, because those are right in front of me. And then we'll look at Bitcoin, then we're going to wrap up the live stream. It's always interesting to see how like the coins people ask for a shift, like where like the public interest sort of lies month to month. Again, and it's not necessarily that I'm going to like identify setup on these terms, but I think it is a little more interesting if you, when you request a coin, just say what your general thoughts are. Like if it's VET or whatever it is, I'm interested in longing, I'm interested in shorting. All right, so this isn't quite a perfect parallel channel here, but there are some ideas. Like if you drew it like this, call this a slight deviation. I don't know. I'm probably going to leave it on. Like we have this little middle line interaction, something like this. I just like to get a sense of any parallel structures that look like this was a somewhat clean parallel structure. A little bit of a deviation. Broken out of it. Front run a fib. Lots of front runs on the charts. Just kind of, you know, you'd maybe set an alert. Sweeping this low. I mean, sweeping any established pivot is always an interesting idea, especially if you get some confluences there. But you'll notice that I'm less interested in just randomly saying where I think price will go. I'm a little more interested in just marking out levels if price does go somewhere. It's very rare that you open up the chart and that is, you just take a trade there because you're going to guess where price is going to go. It's very rare that the chart is in the moment you open it up at a nice level to trade. Most of your time as a trader is spent waiting for levels. Unless you're scalping. All right, well, we have a range here on VET. I personally wouldn't be interested in shorting this. Would like to see some more volume for a short. All right. Well, if I was to short VET, I'd probably just look for these highs to be retested. This one taken, this one retested. Could be kind of similar to the ETH price action. I mean, just from a level perspective, come back up and retest this level into the middle of this channel again. Could be an interesting short. If I had a long, that might be a target. So, you know, maybe trade something like that. And again, you can just mark out a bunch of levels. And if you get them, you kind of have a plan. You take your trade. If you don't get them, eventually, if you have short setups and long setups on either side of a bunch of assets, you're going to get setups. Whether or not they work, time will tell. Something like that could be interesting. If we come sweep and reclaim this low, have some confluences there. Let's just see, there actually is probably an ascending channel here as well. Let me get rid of these brush marks. I'm not saying there's not an ascending channel. There's a potential ascending structure. That's a better way of saying it. I have no idea if there's going to be a channel here. But this is a little more suspect. Just see here. I just want to get rid of this. But again, you guys can have your own setups, right? Like maybe you want to long this breakout, and price could just break out here. That's fine. Just as long as the only thing I recommend really is trade however you want, but just use risk management and invalidation. Like give yourself a buffer to be wrong a lot and still be okay. And if you don't have a consistently profitable system that you're executing, and the best way to find out if that's even remotely true, I think, is first back testing, then paper trading with forward testing. Then don't just assume you're going to lose all your money because you have no idea what you're trading. So if you're like, I trade breakouts at the 4 hour after the second touch, that's fine. But if you don't have any data on your like ability to execute those trades, then you're kind of flying in blind. So you shouldn't really expect to be winning necessarily over the long term, unless you've collected that data. And even then, there's no certainties. So yeah, what I'm saying is, if you had your own plan, trade your own plan, I'd be interested in like looking for a sweep down into this structure. You know, you'll find common themes in my style of trading and analysis, but like something like this intersection of this channel and this channel idea, or this descending trend line, this ascending structure, right into a key fib, right into the point of control, like the timing of all of that, maybe we reject from the middle of this channel to kind of establish this as a descending channel idea even further. If we could tap that perfectly and then bounce here, I'd take a tight invalidation long up into these highs. But price might do something completely different, and then all that becomes irrelevant. I'm only doing one more altcoin, which is SNX, and then I don't even know what that is off the top of my head. But apparently I've charted it before. Did I already do SNX? No. All right. Well, we are ranging. Look at these, just such nice sweeps there. You have an alert set there and just tag along off this swing failure. That would have been a nice setup. Just kind of seeing how this is being traded. A little trend line break there, fake out. Double GP top. choppy range here. I mean, there's certainly setups on lower time frames. We can see, price has been sweeping lows, forming ranges here, sweeping these daily candles like this. Maybe another fake out breakout. Sweeping these lows again could be interesting. I'd probably personally just, if I was interested in longs, if I get the range lows again, consider it. Still interested in shorts. These tests would have been maybe nice. I don't know how interested I'd be if on another test of that level. It's been 1, 2, 3 times. So, anyways, something like that, and probably anticipate some kind of bigger move to the upside if we get it. And I won't really be interested in shorting anything maybe but a sweep of this high. Also an alert there. You never know. I used to have alerts on literally probably every alt, but they all got deleted by a trading view glitch. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. So I explained at the start of the stream, I took a short. I cut the short because I was not liking what I saw on a low time frame. We have some highs here that we front ran. Classic. I was looking for those to get taken for a short. But we are consolidating here back down into the trend line. Taking a look at order flow very quickly. A little bit of bullish absorption forming here as we consolidate at this trend line. I'll point that out very quickly. All right. So we can see a bit of a squeeze up here. Open interest decreasing primarily, and then decreasing more on this move down as long as close. But anyways, we have CVD making equal lows or slightly lower lows between these two lows, higher low here. So there's some local bullish context there that infers higher is more likely than lower. It's not certain. Some of this is probably even scalpable. Yeah, so as of now, my perspective on Bitcoin is to look for higher, test these highs. That'd be interesting. This analysis is just I don't want to say annoying, but it's just so close to being perfect from last week. And front running this low is just annoying. It is annoying, I'll say that. But anyways, taking these highs, testing these highs, rejecting, nice squeeze of shorts would be nice. Trap some longs. We reject. I'd be interested in a short setup. If we just break out, I'm looking for these highs to be taken. Really going to pay attention to order flow here. As we can see, we're getting some nice reactions here. Certainly scalpable. I mean, technically this was almost scalpable, depending on how you traded it. I, of course, didn't trade it scalpable. It was not a profitable trade for me. Came out just worse than break even. Because my invalidation was up here initially, but like I said, I got out early. Nice bounce off this little trend line. Certainly getting some interaction. The whole thesis here is, I think, stable for higher. And I'm just going to be keeping an eye on lower time frame order flow. like something like this where we're seeing this bullish absorption forming on the lower time frames on these pullbacks, I'm just going to wait until we've taken some of that liquidity to the upside, seeming somewhat likely. All right, well, I hope everyone enjoyed the live stream. I hope you got some of your questions answered. And I'll be around throughout the day in the Discord. Got alerts set. And maybe on Twitter as well. But we've looked at a lot of stuff. And I will be a lot more available. Probably back to doing maybe, let's say, semi-daily live streams. At least members live streams, and certainly weekly live streams for the public. And we'll do some of the like morning session New York Open trading live streams and more altcoin stuff. All right, I'm going to go.